perfect football weather. Just gorgeous on the Cumberland River. Perfect for a salute to service. Paratroopers flying into Vanderbilt Stadium for the Cats and the Dores on SEC Network. Wildcats are 4-5. Mark Stoops has had to overcome a lot of adversity to his personnel this season. Great shot, though, of getting back in a bowl game. Has to win 2 of his final 3 games. Now, the Vanderbilt Commodores have lost their last few, but the last time they played here in Nash Vegas, they shocked the Missouri Tigers on October 19th. With the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb and Alyssa Lang, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Stinch, we have had 29 quarterback changes this year in the Southeastern Conference. That's an all-time season record in the league, and these two teams have gone through it multiple times.
It's an endangered position when you look across the entire conference, but both these teams have started 3 different quarterbacks at different points of the season. Kentucky seemingly has established some level of stability with Lynn Bowden Jr. at quarterback, and then the reinsertion of Riley Neal at quarterback for Vanderbilt. That might be the spark that they need offensively after what has been a stymied performance the past 3 outings.
Kentucky lost Benny Snell and Josh Allen to the NFL, 2 of the very best to ever play on each side of the ball in Lexington. So you knew they weren't going to have them back. But you were hoping Terry Wilson would have a big year. He had a season-ending injury against Eastern Michigan in week 2. And then the close losses, the way they lost to the Gators in week 3. And then last week, another crushing loss to the Tennessee Volunteers. They do have Lynn Bowden, though. This man leads the conference in all-purpose yards. He is the catch-all, kick returner, punt returner, wide receiver, and now he's the quarterback, Stinch.
And the fact that they run the football so much, he's a key component. 153 yards per game for Lynn Bowden from the quarterback position.
For more on number 1, let's send you down to the field and Alyssa Lang.
Guys, it's not breaking news really anymore across the Southeastern Conference that Kentucky has their best wide receiver playing quarterback, right? But what you might not know is that Lynn Bowden says his heart is with the quarterback position. Obviously, he's talented at receiver, but this is the position he loves. So when it comes to throwing to his former position group, he says he doesn't coach his guys up too much, stays out of the way, says, hey, this is how I'm going to throw the ball, so this is how you need to come down with it. If for some reason Lynn Bowden can't play today, guys, Sawyer Smith is also available.
Yes, he is, and we'll see what happens with that. Meanwhile, Riley Neal is starting at quarterback today. Now, he started against the Gamecocks, marched him down the field for a touchdown, but then he had a concussion, hasn't played since, and they haven't scored in their last 25 drives.
It just hasn't seen a lot of football recently. You mentioned missed the entire game last week versus Florida. He's only had 6 completions since then. You think about that second half versus Missouri in relief, and then just the one drive versus South Carolina. They're going to want to get Riley Neal going early in this game.
This is one of the oldest rivalries in the SEC. 92nd meeting between the two. Kentucky leads 45-42-4. They've won 3 in a row. First time these two schools met was 1896 here in Nashville. Dores won it. Grant McInnes will kick it deep to Javion Marlowe, and the Dores will get it first. So here's Riley Neal, the graduate from Yorktown, Indiana, transfer from Ball State University. Played some high school basketball there in Yorktown. Enjoys hunting and fishing and playing some golf. Good to have Riley back, fully healthy. Most would say that have watched this team this year, Stinch, he's the best quarterback option they have.
It took him some time to become acclimated to the style of play, the level of play in the Southeastern Conference, but the coaches feel as if he is ready to lead this offense.
And on the first play, it's Keyshawn Vaughn, and Vaughn gets nothing on the first play as Boogie Watson makes the tackle, and Vaughn must carry the mail today for Vandy.
Well, we talk about Lynn Bowden and what he means to Kentucky from all-purpose yardage. Keyshawn Vaughn is 4th in the conference, highly productive, not only a physical runner, but an excellent receiver out of the backfield, the 2nd most receptions for this Vanderbilt offense with 24.
And it's a Wildcat look, and it's snapped over Vaughn's head. way over his head, and Lipscomb will dive on it inside the 5 as Sean McMore's snap was way too high. It's a loss of 21.
And you see this happen when you've got a big body in Quentin Bohanna who's zeroed up right over the nose. So Sean McMore trying to snap that football, and he knows he has got a load right over his hat. That's a huge task, a difficult task, and oftentimes you end up with bad snaps, really costing the Dores here on the opening possession.
2 mistakes by McMore, pins Vandy back at their own 2, and just to get some breathing room, Vaughn crosses the 10 so that they can bring the punter Harrison Smith out to have a shot to split the field, 4th down.
And the difficulty, of course, is, yes, a lost possession versus Kentucky, and the Commodore offense, the entire staff knows that this Kentucky offense is built around limited possessions. Cash Daniel, defensively for Kentucky, fired up about forcing the Dores to kick from their own end zone.
Josh Paschal blocked a punt last week against Tennessee. No problem getting this one off for Smith. Takes a sideways bounce. Like Ali wanted to come up and grab that, thinks better of it. And it's down at the 44, so Lynn Bowden Jr. will have outstanding field position as he trots out on the field at quarterback from Youngstown, Ohio, Mark Stoops country. Welcomed LB3 into the world a couple of years ago, and it was just great listening to Lynn Jr. talk about how that young man has changed his dad's life. Made Lynn grown up a lot. He's a Dean's List guy in Lexington now. And Eddie Grand says he's one of the smartest guys we've got on offense. There you see his stats this year. Playing quarterback now in the 5th straight game. He has A.J. Rose in the backfield. You'll see as many as 3 tailbacks for UK today. And here's A.J. breaking tackles inside the 30, staying on his feet near the red zone. That's a pickup of 24 for the junior from Cleveland. Will Bowden throw the football any today? Will he find big number 14, Ahmad Wagner, who's back in the lineup, missed last week with a hamstring injury?
When you look at Kentucky, they don't throw it often. You can see why, because of the personnel that they have, especially at quarterback. But Ahmad Wagner, an excellent target to throw 50-50 balls, especially in this portion of the field.
Cats are, in fact, in the red zone, where they have not performed well this year. It's Rose again, moving laterally, and he'll pick up a yard at the end of the play. Nice swarming defense there by Derek Mason's defense. Past couple of weeks, Andre Mintz has been one of the team leaders, the redshirt junior from Philadelphia. Got a lot of praise yesterday from defensive coordinator Jason Tarver.
A leader and a guy that they'll need to have negative yardage plays for the Commodore defense to try to get Kentucky off schedule and force them into passing situations.
Cats have had 8 empty possessions in the red zone this season. It's a 2nd and 9. Bowden tries the other direction, and this is why you have him at quarterback. When there's nothing doing, you just let him out-athlete somebody for a few. As Kenny Hebert forces him out, it'll be 3rd and 5.
We were talking about this play with Eddie Grand yesterday. So watch, you're going to pull the backside guard and tackle, and watch the backfield motion. It's going to go this way initially. What do you do defensively? You see, if all he's doing is reading how that edge defender plays it. If the edge defender widens, he doesn't toss it. He keeps it and follows his pullers into the line of scrimmage. Very difficult spot to put a defense into.
And since you see UK's 3rd down numbers struggled mightily this season, in part because the pass has not been much of a threat in the last month. Bowden here will keep it, and he is stopped short at the right at the line of scrimmage at the 14-yard line. It'll be 4th down where Mintz was again.
You can see they were looking to try to set it up to make it look like they were going to run a play action. They pulled the left guard, and instead, Lynn Bowden clearly on a QB draw. Well played by Mintz.
Now, kicking has been an issue all season for the Cats. Chance Poore missed a chip shot to give the Cats the lead against the Gators in week 3. Missed an extra point last week. Matt Ruffalo missed 2 of those 2 weeks ago. It's a 32-yard attempt for the freshman from Anderson, South Carolina. And that's a knuckleball that goes through. 3-0. The Wildcats are on the board.
He sculled that one. But all that matters is that it makes it over that crossbar between the uprights, and it did.
Thin to win, baby. 3-zip. Cats over the Dores on a salute to service. Just nothing like Music City. Love coming here. You see Big Blue Nation is in attendance once again. They made 2 trips here 2 years ago, beat the Dores here at Vanderbilt Stadium, and then just about a month later played in the Music City Bowl where they lost on a 2-point conversion on the goal line in that memorable game to Northwestern. They actually practiced in that stadium where the Titans call home yesterday. Vandy will start again at the 25. Riley is back, and there he is at quarterback on a 1st and 10, clean pocket. That's Keyshawn Vaughn, out of bounds after a few. He's shoved into that Kentucky bench.
Looked like he bounced into Marquand McCall, who's just standing over there as a backup nose tackle. Watch the end of this play. Keyshawn Vaughn, he gets dropped. I mean, McCall throws a forearm into Keyshawn Vaughn's chin. Surprised that a flag doesn't come out. That's not just incidental. It's a big scrum, tough for the official to see it. I guess initially, and McCall, he's acting like it wasn't anything to me. Well, yeah, you're 320 pounds.
Marquand McCall, the backup nose tackle, and Vaughn certainly isn't feeling any effects as he's taken over on the Cats on the field, standing over them for an inspired 1st down run.
That's what they have to get going. And obviously you can see the intent to try to get touches to their best offensive player. We mentioned the big 3, Kalijah Lipscomb and Jared Pinkney. They're receivers. One's a tight end. That requires stability at quarterback. Commodores haven't had that, but you can toss a football. You can hand off a football to Keyshawn Vaughn. That's not a bad strategy.
He's one of the top 10 in the history of Vanderbilt football, only his 2nd season after transferring in from Illinois, and they're going to ride him as much as possible today. That's another run right near the sticks. See where that's marked, but a nice run by Vaughn, and see if he's able to get up under his own power. It's a pickup of 9. It looked like he dropped the ball at the end of that play. You see the struggles for Vandy on offense, one of the worst in the country, just about every stat. In fact, 3rd down, they are 1/30th.
And the difficulty has been the 1st down efficiency, but you see here a 2nd and short.
This is a jet sweep as it's Lipscomb in the Cats territory, staying in bounds inside the 35.
Right now, if you're Jerry Godowski, the offensive coordinator for Vanderbilt, this is exactly what you want to establish. Keyshawn Vaughn, straight downhill, previous run, sets up a 2nd and 1. Now let the defense see a fly sweep and have to defend the width of the football field to Kalijah Lipscomb.
He only had 26 yards rushing, Lipscomb did, before that play. That was 22 right there for the senior from New Orleans.
Now alert a shot play on a 1st down and plus territory.
This is a backwards pass, gonna throw it back the other way to Vaughn. Keyshawn has blockers in front, inside the 20. That was Cam Johnson who delivered that pass for 16 yards to Vaughn and another 1st down.
And it looked like Johnson had 2 options. It looked like he had a chance to put it downfield to James Bostic, number 81. Watch him come across the screen and downfield. There was a safety back. They had a screen as well, set up to the opposite side of the formation. Well executed by the Commodore offense.
Pretty good when a wide receiver checks down to another target on a trick play as the Dores are in the red zone. It's a 1st and goal from the Kentucky 5 for Vandy. Will Riley Neal ride number 5? Keyshawn gets the edge, into the end zone. Touchdown. Ending a 26-drive scoring drought. Jordan Griffin missing the tackle here, Stinch.
Had a shot at it. Cash Daniel came underneath blocks, shot the gap. DeAndre Square right there at the goal line. Keyshawn Vaughn is a physical runner. If you talk to the defensive coaches, when they face Vanderbilt, they recognize he's not an easy guy to bring down. He showed just enough burst to get to the edge and then cut just like a knife into that end zone.
Riley Gay to give the Dores a 7-3 advantage. 8 plays, 75 yards in 4 minutes and 27 seconds. One of the best drives of the season for anchor down. It's a 35-7 game near halftime when Tua Tagovailoa suffered what looked to be a very serious hip injury, which could threaten the rest of his collegiate career. We'll see what impact it has on him professionally, but there's going to be a lot of people playing armchair quarterback on this one.
Well, and look, it's not about having to know that a guy's going to get injured, but you know that he could get injured, and you're up 35-7 at that point in time. They play to a standard. They want to get better. I get all that. That makes sense. But I think, caution is the better half of valor right there. Go ahead and take him out, especially because he's already banged up. And, of course, this is a distinct injury, I think, from the previous one that he had with the high ankle.
So Alabama's dealing with that. Mac Jones has started for the Crimson Tide and came in to finish the game today. Lynn Bowden and Sawyer Smith have started this season in relief for Terry Wilson, who is here today, we might add. Good to see him wearing his number 3 jersey out there on the field.
Interesting formation for Kentucky. 4 wide receivers to the bottom of the screen.
Instead, just a handoff straight ahead. A.J. Rose already broke one. How about another? This one tackled inside the 30, where he flips the field. It's Jalen Mahoney, who might have saved a touchdown. That's 49 yards.
You remove defenders with the formation, and then you pick up a crease to the left side, opposite, away from all those receivers. Not a lot of second-level help that way. So you get past the line of scrimmage, and it can be a home run ball just like the one A.J. Rose just hit.
Again, it's Rose after 49 yards. This one just a minimal gain. The ball comes out, and it's recovered by Vanderbilt. That's Alan George streaking all the way into the end zone, 69 yards.
Coming into this game, Vanderbilt was 3rd in the conference with 3 defensive touchdowns. Make it 4 now. I'm a little surprised. As quickly as that ball came out, and it looks like it's Andre Mintz that strips this ball out. See him rake it out there out of A.J. Rose's left arm. Pop that ball free.
Ball is confirmed. It's 14-3. Vandy. So the sophomore from Andalusia, Alabama, gets to sign the football as Dimitri Moore and Andre Mintz came in to punch this one out. And the Dores are up double digits today in Nashville. Watch out. Another house call for the Commodores, their 4th defensive touchdown this season. Now, Alan George is famous for his backflips, according to defensive coordinator Jason Tarver. He said, I don't like it because he runs away from his teammates when he does those backflips. This time he stays with them, signs the football, and celebrates. Another defensive TD for Vandy. Pearson Cook kicking it through the end zone. More it's a toss, two-hander to Smoke. First down for Cavassier, the redshirt freshman from Wetumpka, Alabama. Had a good game last week with 58 yards rushing and a 22-yard touchdown.
So earlier, we saw Lynn Bowden keep the football on that exact same play. This is what I'm talking about, where they run like a counter trey. You pull the backside guard and tackle, and Lynn Bowden reads that edge defender, and if he closes, he's going to pitch it wide to the running back, just as he did there.
Christopher Rodriguez, at his career high last week, joined Smoke in that backfield. And he fakes to him, gives to Smoke, running the triple option. Cavassier keeps the ball inside the 30. And another flag comes in at the end of the play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 71 offense, hit the player behind the play. That penalty is 15 yards from the succeeding spot. It is 1st and 10.
That's Logan Steinberg, the senior from Madison, Alabama.
Logan Steinberg, he's a good football player. He's also developed himself quite a reputation. And so opposing teams, they're going to tell these officials. They meet with the officials before the game. Look at him. And I got to tell you, look, this is a ridiculous flag. That's ridiculous that a flag came out. Logan Steinberg does a lot of stuff. But that was a clean block at the end of the play. And what led that flag to come out, I have to think, is the reputation. These refs are looking for 71, but that's a bad flag. That was a clean block on a live ball.
So instead, the Cats snap it from the 42. Here's a little toss ahead to Josh Ali, and Josh is inside the 35. Snapping this one from the 35 on a 2nd and 3 play. And this is Rodriguez, and Christopher is near the 25. They call him Little Benny. He runs very similarly to the way that Benny Snell did for 3 seasons.
He got the most touches he's had all season last week versus Tennessee. 12 carries, as you see there, 81 yards, 6.8 average. He's physical. His biggest issue early on this season was ball security. Eddie Grand, offensive coordinator, is also the running backs coach, got in the doghouse early, has earned his way back into snaps.
Throwing, this is the tight end Keaton Upshaw, and Upshaw just about broke one there. He's down at the 16-yard line, just his 7th catch of the season. So the Cats have been down here. This is now the 3rd time, and they only have 3 points to show for it. That was the problem last week, Stinch. After the first quarter, they were into Tennessee territory 5 times, no points.
One with the turnover, then obviously the forced field goal off a short field. Goes without saying, got to dig their way in to get these points this time.
Evidently, they did get it off before the end of the quarter, and Rodriguez will give them a 1st down as they go to the 2nd, but a turnover for a touchdown and a long Vandy drive have the Dores up 11. As this is now the 10th play of the drive, as Kentucky down 11, marching on the Dores on each of their 3 possessions. Handoff, it's Smoke inside the 5, and he'll be down to the 2. Matt Austin, would you go and talk to both coaches when a game is borderline getting out of hand?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, let the coaches know that, we try to be invisible as officials, but a lot of times you can't be. When it starts getting chippy, you warn the coaches, listen, we'll throw as many flags as we have to, and you can finish with the number of kids that you end up with, but we are going to take control of this game one way or another. But you also tell the kids on the field. The kids usually react to talking to them, calming them down, tell them to just play football and knock off the stuff after the whistle.
2nd and 1 inside the 3. And Bowden is going to push in Smoke into the end zone. Touchdown. So after the turnover on the last drive where A.J. Rose coughed it up, Kentucky comes right back on an 11-play drive, and it's Cavassier. That's not a liner. That's not a Bush push, right? That's a Bowden push.
Talk about riding the handoff. You see Lynn Bowden, and he didn't put it in Cavassier Smoke's belly and pull out of there until at the very last minute. He turned into almost like one of those linemen that blast up in there on late pushes. Lynn Bowden's got that strong lower body, able to get Kentucky into the end zone on one of these red zone possessions.
Chance Poor can build some more confidence. And that one barely gets through as it hooks through. And the kicking game continues to be an interesting situation for the Cats. Bowden didn't score, but he pushed Smoke into the end zone.
It's been a really physical game so far. Coach Mason obviously happy with the effort that his team's been displaying after that last defensive drive. His defense coming off after giving up that touchdown, and he said, look, go sit down, figure it out, new set of downs in just a couple of minutes. And he talked to us in meetings this week just about some of the phrases or the Masonisms that he tries to manifest, keeping guys mentally dialed in, talking about the ball-finding energy, attitude affects outcome, and they're certainly preaching things like that on the sidelines right now.
Helps, Alyssa, when you get the football in a defensive player's hands like they did on that on the second drive. Alan George taking it 69 yards and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Neal is under center here, and it's Keon Brooks, the true freshman, getting free into the Kentucky secondary, and he's up to the 38-yard line, so pick up 13 for the freshman. He had a career-high 11 carries last week. It's become a complementary piece to Vaughn.
You see a nice change up. We mentioned Keyshawn, physical, a guy with enough speed. Keon Brooks, a guy that is emerging in their rushing attack. And you can see Vanderbilt doing a good job. First down efficiency with their early down runs.
Play action. Neal under pressure. Eludes the sack. Incomplete. As Boogie Watson was there for the missed tackle. Ultimately, Brooks could not make the catch, but good job of Neal of not taking that sack.
Now, obviously didn't get the completion, but exactly right. Boogie Watson able to beat the would-be protection and block of Jared Pinckney, who just got beat around that edge. Excellent job keeping that play alive, escaping, not only getting outside the pocket, but delivering the football to where he could have got a completion, but avoiding the negative yardage play.
Brooks staying in there. 3 carries for 20 yards. Taking the handoff here. No place to go. It'll be 3rd and long for Coach Mason's team. And he has said he believes that Vanderbilt is one of the toughest jobs in America. Many would argue it's the toughest job in the Southeastern Conference. While everyone else has a shovel in the ground, Vanderbilt has a bunch of challenges here that are unlike the other 13 schools in the SEC.
It's made it difficult, there's no doubt. I mean, one of these is not like all the others. And you see facility upgrades across the board. That is an additional hurdle that Vanderbilt has to clear to be competitive amongst its 13 peers.
On top of that, Snitch, Big Blue Nation on their feet in Nashville. A sea of blue roaring at Riley Neal on this 3rd and 8. Incomplete. Keyshawn Vaughn had it in his hands.
That's a first down. And Keyshawn Vaughn knew it. You could see the immediate frustration with himself because he had beaten Cash Daniel in coverage. Slipped right through the middle of the protection. You see Daniel trailing. Keyshawn Vaughn's running away from this linebacker, and he just took his eyes off the football, started running with the ball before he completed the catch. They had a conversion right there and an opportunity.
Harrison Smith had a 33-yard punt his first time. This is Josh Ali will put his hand up at the 18-yard line. Cats have the football back, down 4. As Kentucky comes back on offense, trailing 14-10. Ground and pound. And this new offense that Eddie Gran has thrown at the Cats in the last month. Bossier Smoke won't get much there. 2nd down, Dimitri Moore there on the stop. Doesn't matter who carries the football for the Cats this year. They're doing something successful, each and every one of them, whether it's Smoke, Rodriguez, Rose, or of course Bowden.
And so far in this game, Bowden somewhat quiet, hasn't had to do most of the work. As you see A.J. Rose, Smoke, Rodriguez all contributing. Smoke with that touchdown on the previous possession.
with Smoke and Rodriguez behind him on this play. This pistol option look, faking it to the upback, taking it himself. First down, Kentucky to the 35-yard line. It's a 17-yard play. It's a 1st and 10 as Worship goes off the field after Bowden's run for 13 yards. And now it's Cavassier Smoke into the Vandy side of the field. It'll be a 1st down for the Cats.
Here comes edge pressure. You see him showing it off the slot. Kentucky checks to the sideline.
Still plenty of time on the play clock as the Cats need to get to Vandy's 37. Send it to Smoke, diving ahead. Man, that looked like a Benny Snell run up to the 36.
You see Vanderbilt, and they're crashing the line of scrimmage. They did end up bringing that edge pressure, and Smoke narrowly missing a chance to break that run. If he is able to run through that arm tackle of Dimitri Moore, he might bang his head on the goalpost. There was nobody else home in the middle of the field.
Stays in. Cats send a quartet of receivers to the bottom of the screen. Bowden says, that's just eye candy. I'll take it straight ahead. It's interesting to watch him take on so many tackles. We asked him about that yesterday, and he said a couple of years ago, there's no way my body could have handled this, but all the off-season conditioning he's done in the last 2 years has prepared him to play quarterback once again.
Well, he got hit before at wide receiver, and he acknowledged that. But it's not like this, not the physical pounding. He's in there amongst the big bodies as a runner on some of these downhill runs.
He's got 43 yards. Cats have over 200. It's Lynn again. Run out of bounds at the 22 by George. 1st down.
He's just gotten so good. He started out really good at reading the edge, knowing when to keep, when to give. There's a number of different options in some of these reads that he has, and when he does, he's so elusive, explosive in space, almost like a punt returner when he gets it out on the edge.
The Cats will run the, did we say Grand Ole Opry? That's what we're going with here at the 22.
Well, whatever it is, it's worked very well so far in this game. You think about outside of that forced fumble return for a touchdown, they've been able to move the football.
Rodriguez, look at that hole. Chris, end zone, touchdown.
Not much to this one. It's just a downhill run. Here's Rodriguez, and he is just going to slice right down the middle of the Commodore defensive front. Nice blocking, ran right through a would-be tackle of Alan George, just bludgeoning his way down to the end zone.
Strand loving it on the sideline. 9 plays, 82 yards, all on the ground. And that's a much better kick from Poor as the Cats take the 17-14 lead. Well, Alan George had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. He gets run over by Christopher Rodriguez. Cats on top. Music City, one of the best cities in the United States of America on a perfect day for football. The view here at Vanderbilt Stadium that overlooks the west end of Nashville all the way down to Broadway. Just a spectacular backdrop. Big Blue Nation enjoying themselves. They're a 14-3 hole. Marks down the field twice, and Vandy will start at the 25, Alyssa.
One of the biggest questions coming into Kentucky's season was who's going to replace Benny Snell. Well, they have those 3 running backs who we know are pretty talented. They're pretty close, too. After that last touchdown, it was Cavassier Smoke and A.J. Rose who came over, and they were the hypest when it came to celebrating that last score. Those guys, though, also really competitive week in and week out because they're sharing a lot of reps.
As you can understand, and it's been a great competition, and all 3 of them competing so well, as the team collectively is well over 200 yards rushing with 8:07 still to go in the second quarter. Riley Neal, that's a lot of traffic, just about picked off. Is diving for the ball was Jordan Griffin.
Jordan Griffin could have come up with a pick, but it was Cedric Dort that had worked his way through the would-be block. It looked like Chris Pierce was going to try to block for Kalijah Lipscomb. Dort was the one that disrupted it, caused that ball to bounce up into the air, and Jordan Griffin narrowly missing an interception.
Griffin's the only experienced guy they had coming into the season. Run the wheel this time. That is a forward pass whistled down. It's third down. And you've got to give Brad White, the defensive coordinator, and Mark Stoops a ton of credit for the bend, don't break defense they played. They've only given up one pass play over 40 yards this entire season, and the UK defense is loving the effort.
Well, you can see Keyshawn Vaughn. We talked about what a great receiver he has been on an earlier third down. Could have had a conversion. That time he probably gets tackled for a loss if he makes the catch. But the Big Blue Nation that is here at Vanderbilt Stadium is making it loud and difficult here on this third down for the home team.
Neal will take off and run, and he's going to be tackled about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. Chris Oates forcing the fourth. Quandre Mosley, junior from Brunswick, Georgia, running off. Riley Neal wanted to stay on.
And it looked like he expected it there for a second. And a little bit of hesitation from the sideline. That would have been a pretty aggressive gamble at that point on this side of the field.
Instead, it'll be Harrison Smith's third punt. Josh Ali, of course, this used to be Lynn Bowden's job. He's taken 3 punt returns to the house. Ali will have to call for another fair catch. This one just inside the 25-yard line. And we go straight ahead. Christopher Rodriguez up to the 28. PB, we were talking about that earlier today, Stinch.
Okay.
If the Hawkeyes might pull the upset on your Gophers, because you may have included them in your top 4.
That might not make the show, thank you.
Bowden on a 2nd and 7 trucks another Vandy defender, and it's a first down for somewhere. Benny Snell's got to be pounding his chest watching his buddy Chris Rodriguez run like that. Straight up the gut, and he's into Vandy territory.
Look at this formation on the third down. Look how wide these receivers are. Well, what they're doing is they're trying to pull these defenders as far outside as they possibly can, and now they're blocking. So I mentioned a second ago, you see the ball handling. What Bowden does is it looks like it could be a downhill run. You get the second-level defenders and linebackers to stop their feet. The next thing you know, you're flipping an option pitch on the perimeter.
Mr. Grand's got 4 different Kentucky runners that all have over 50 yards in the first half.
And you can see it. The Grand Ole Opry is sounding pretty good so far.
Great shot of the Ryman we were showing a little while ago. Bowden again. He's got a first down inside the 40.
The difficulty is, and we talked about the defensive coordinator for Vanderbilt, Jason Tarver. What has to happen? He says we have to play with extension, and our guys on the edges, our cornerbacks, they have to get off blocks. Why is that? It's because Kentucky is so good at making you feel like you're getting a downhill run and then bouncing that ball out onto the perimeter with some of these pulls.
Smoke spelling Rodriguez. Bowden keeping, spinning inside the 35-yard line. Lynn was pretty hard on himself, Stinch, after the loss to Tennessee. Of course, that goal line stand the Vols had. Lynn said, I should have pile-driven my way into the end zone instead of running laterally at the Vols on that 4th down last week. That was a tough one to take, and the Cats have had several of those in the last few years.
They were right there. They were controlling the football game early, got away from them, hit a drought. Just could not find a way in their final 5 possessions to get a score there in the second half.
Kentucky still has 2 timeouts left. So milk this clock again. And Bowden wants to try the end zone. One-on-one ball, and it's out of bounds to Ali. And says he loves throwing to Josh. couldn't connect that time.
The last time they tried a downfield throw is, you see Lynn Bowden Jr., he's looking over there on the sideline, and he says he likes to throw the post. Well, the last time he threw downfield was a post to Josh Ali, similar results. We talked to Eddie Grant, they talk about he's a good downfield passer, but he's been off target on his 2 deep attempts here in the first half. You see the Commodore defense playing coverage, 2 deep safeties.
Bowden doesn't like what he sees down the field, stays on his feet. That's a first down.
He was looking downfield. You could see the Commodores. They were anticipating pass all the way. You see the 2 safeties deep on either hash mark. Didn't like where he had to go, but you can see it opening up. Wagner looking as if perhaps he could have been open, but by then Bowden said, forget it. I'm the best threat at this point in time. That's the difficulty you have with a runner at quarterback.
For a minute left, and he completes one to Ali. It's Josh's 30th catch on the season. He's short of the first down marker, so it'll be second down, clock running. And Kentucky has 1 timeout left.
You see Bowden getting up to the line of scrimmage, trying to communicate with the line as the clock continues to run here.
Another underneath throw, and this one's to Clevan Thomas inside the 15 to the 14, and that will move the chains.
As you can see on the sideline, Mark Stoops saying, get ready on the line of scrimmage, line up and ready to snap this football.
This is the 13th play of the drive. Bowden lobs one, caught! Ali off the carom. That is Vandy's season in a nutshell, as Brendan Harris had a chance at the interception. Instead, he deflects it to Ali for a Kentucky touchdown.
How about the ability to improvise by Lynn Bowden? Now, Brendan Harris should have been able to break this pass up. Gets up, gets a hand on it, and instead he deflects it off. Keeps that ball alive and allows Ali to come down with the touchdown.
That is only Bowden's 2nd career passing touchdown. And the story once again has been the Kentucky ground game, running for 279 rushing yards in the first half. 4 different guys have gone over 50.
You see everybody getting in on the action. Lynn Bowden there late with his arm, but it's largely been the ball carriers, including the quarterback for Kentucky, that has powered the offense here in the first half.
And they get the football first to start the second half, scoring touchdowns in each of their last 3 possessions. And Alyssa Langs with Coach Stoops.
Coach, 279 rushing yards so far. What's been the key for your ground game?
The guys are playing extremely physical. I thought the backs made some exceptional runs. They made some people miss, and they made some tough runs as well. So proud of the way we're running the ball.
Defensively, what do you want to see in the second half?
We just got to, after that 1 touchdown drive we gave up, we got to keep our composure. The guys were a little bit out of sorts, jumping off sides there, a little bit anxious. Just do our job and play hard.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
We've reached halftime here in Nashville with our score, Kentucky 24, Vanderbilt 14. Now it's the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report with Peter Burns and Chris Doran. That is not Matt Stinchcomb, I can report.
Nor will it ever be.
Those are some amazing paratroopers finding their way into Vanderbilt Stadium on a glorious day. The weather, I just can't get over how good it is. It's a salute to service here with Vandy and Kentucky, and the Cats up 24-14. Meanwhile, the Cats are running and running and running again.
32 times, and they did it out of different personnel groupings, but there's a 2x2 set out of 10 personnel. 1 back, 4 wide receivers, and then quads to one side. And then 2x2 again, but look how wide their splits are outside the numbers. You can see how Eddie Grant is setting up the defense, keeping them off balance. Multiple personnel groupings, different formations, and as we've noted, multiple running backs contributing in big ways so far in the first half. When you look at the productivity that they've had, 279 rushing yards. They've only attempted 7 passes. It's not as if you're trying to loosen up the defense with your downfield passing game. They've just been able to run it. They've been able to formation and scheme to generate this type of rushing production.
And if you're Kentucky, there's no reason to stop, right? You just keep going and going with Lynn Bowden. You've done it these last 4 games. You ride it through the rest of the year.
The only time that you've been stopped was on the fumble by A.J. Rose on the second possession of this football game. Otherwise, it's been an unstoppable force with this rushing attack, and it's been remarkable. Now, granted, there have been a couple of downs, one notable third down where Lynn Bowden just said, forget it, I'm going to tuck and run. It was a scramble and not a called run, so more of improvisation there. But the rushing attack has been remarkable so far for Kentucky.
Jay Rose after the fumble, we've not seen him again, and it's been Rodriguez and this man, Cavassier Smoke with a first down run. You know who would like to jump out of one of those planes upstairs? That's Alyssa Lang. Let's go down to the field and her.
Absolutely. I was trying to do it, but they said no for some reason. Guys, coming out of halftime, I caught up with Vanderbilt head coach Derek Mason. I said, how do you generate momentum on offense going into the second half? He said, our defense has to get off the field. We're missing tackles. We're staying on the field too long. We have to get off the field on third down.
Well, he's right. I mean, you can see the time of possession. There's no doubt. Kentucky dominated a lot of snaps there in the first half for this young defense.
And instead of tossing, Bowden keeps it himself, and he hits 9 more. We've got 3 guys that could go over 100 yards rushing for Kentucky in the backfield, including this man, who's already up to 87 yards.
We've seen this play a couple of times. You see the backside guard and tackle pulling again. It's like a counter tray. And he's got the option to pitch it outside, and he's kept it. We saw it early on the very first possession of this football game, but they've done a great job coming back to what has gotten them here. That's one of their core plays.
Smoke looking for room. And Cavassier is whistled down near the 48-yard line. It's a triple option out of a pistol set that Kentucky showcases many times. Either a counter attack or 2 backs in the backfield and a triple option in a pistol set, meaning you're not under center. You rarely see that, if ever.
No, other than a quarterback sneak, right? I don't know that Lynn Bowden knows how to take a snap from under center. We haven't seen him do it this season.
Sawyer Smith came in and did take one and pushed the pile ahead to move the chains. Faking the smoke, and Bowden just turns into an athlete, and he's near another first down. Hey, Peter Burns, what's happening with the Dogs and the Auburn Tigers? Yeah, road teams have had a lot of success in that series, really in the post-Stinchcomb era.
You know what's weird is that it worked that way even as a player. In fact, it was the away team that was dominating that series. Every other year, the away team would find a way to beat that home team in what is a pretty familiar pair of programs.
On 2nd and 1, throwing, and it's Cleveland Thomas staying in bounds. Thomas out of bounds inside the 2. This will be marked down there. He was trying so hard to score his 2nd career touchdown.
A great block by Allen Daly. Watch 89. Seeing him finish right there allows Cleveland Thomas to get that stiff arm after he'd gotten ahead of steam. That was a good job by the officials. Tay Daly getting over there late, and his toe looked like it did drag across the boundary line.
Out to the old wide receiver coach, Lamar Thomas, who brought him from South Florida up to the Cats. 1st and goal. Bowden might as well walk it in. Just too easy for Kentucky on these last 4 drives. Rushing the Commodores. Once again, 6 plays, 75 yards out of the tunnel. Look at Eddie Grand just diving into Bowden's arms.
he's fired up. We talked to Mark Stoops yesterday and Lynn Bowden as well as Eddie Grand, and the level of creativity, the amount of improvising that they've had to go through because of the injuries is pretty amazing.
31-14 with Coors extra point. 4 consecutive 75-yard touchdown drives. Cleveland Thomas with the 41-yard catch. And then Lynn Bowden. It's just too easy in Nash Vegas.
Lynn Bowden Jr. and the Kentucky Wildcats offense, 28 unanswered points.
Daly says he's a great stand-up comedian, by the way. Maybe Stinchcomb and Alan Daly somewhere down on Broadway slinging jokes. I'd pay some money to see that.
You might be the only one, pal.
I'm sure people would pay to watch this one tonight on SEC Network.
This is what Vanderbilt has to find a, well, they can't have this.
Oh yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn unable to get up yet. So far, so good for the Cats, leading 31-14. Alyssa will check on Keyshawn Vaughn down there for hobbling off with that injury. Keon Brooks has looked good, and he moves the chains for a first down. What's going on with Keyshawn, Alyssa?
Yeah, guys, when Keyshawn came off the field onto the sidelines, it looked like they were sort of feeling around his chest, maybe his rib cage area. He's in the injury tent right now, so when I get an update, I'll let you guys know.
That's just the 6th first down for Vanderbilt, and their first since the first quarter.
It did look like he kind of fell hard on his right side. Maybe if he kind of subluxed one of those rib heads. Doesn't feel great when that happens.
Backfield for Riley Neal. Neal, touch pass, and he throws it right to Yusuf Corker.
He's trying to drop it into Kalijah Lipscomb. And Yusuf Corker, he's just sitting back. He's got the deep half. He's watching all the way. So here's Corker right here. He'll come out of his back pedal, but eyes in the backfield all the way. And he's able to get an early jump on that throw from Riley Neal. He's trying to drop it in there, plenty enough time. As you see Corker spin into the middle of the field, the quarterback's eyes lead him outside the numbers. And in talking with defensive coordinator Brad White, he was talking about how important Yusuf Corker has been for this rebuilt secondary. A great communicator.
Yeah. Bowden throws to Ahmad Wagner, and Wagner is whistled down. They won't call it a fumble. A play was called dead at the 31, so it's a loss of 4 for Wagner. It's his first catch in a few weeks. We were talking about the offensive line. John Schlarman is one of the best in the business, done another outstanding job this year, and I know that he has been very private about his battle with cancer. The last couple of years, or I guess going back to the beginning of last season, Stinch, the school made that news available, but John has not wanted to really talk about it much. I can tell you this, it hasn't impacted his attitude or his work ethic at all. Now 2nd and 24.
It's an interesting play call really right there. You're basically counting on Wagner breaking that first tackle to make it a positive play.
Bowden looking for something down the field. Getting blocks in front and ends up being tackled at the 29-yard line. So that's a loss on the play as Cameron Tidd and Dimitri Moore came in. And the last thing that Coach Stoops and Coach Grand want to see is Bowden getting banged up.
He's saying, look, I'm all right, but I don't know. Oh, looked like he was grabbing both his ankles there for a second. Maybe he's just flat out worn out. Kept that play alive for quite some time, but as we've mentioned, he's had some downhill runs, taken some big-time shots. Have to leave the game now for at least a snap on this 3rd down.
Dimitri Moore is also hurt on the play. Linebacker for the Commodores, rather, getting up.
And what derailed this possession for Kentucky was that holding penalty. got him off schedule, dug a hole early. 1st and 20. And of course the near miss on that flip out to Ahmad Wagner, and Lynn Bowden incapable of finding anything downfield as he kept that one alive. Interesting, just looked kind of like a nondescript play.
Will count as a sack for Moore and for Tidd. That's just Vandy's 14th, and this is their 10th game. 3rd and 26, dump it off to Smoke. And Cavassier, first down.
Unreal. Well, Lynn Bowden he can't wipe the smile off his face. 3rd and 26. What a hole. Mason Wolf out in front. Logan Steinberg blocking downfield. Cavassier Smoke breaking a couple of tackles and converting. It just got to be so deflating if you're Vanderbilt.
Freddie Afamui finally made the tackle at the 43-yard line. That play, a microcosm of what Vandy's dealt with this year, a 3rd and 26. Well, Bowden must not be banged up too much. Running ahead, taking on defenders for 13 more, up to the 30-yard line, and he's over 100 on the day.
It's almost like we've seen this play before. Pulling guard, pulling backside tackle. There's Lynn Bowden. Fake the toss. If the defense widens, keep it, follow your blockers. You're forcing the defense to play both ends of the line of scrimmage.
Rodriguez. And he is near the 33. Bowden said one thing he really misses is the return game. Remember 2 years ago in this stadium, Bowden had a kick return over 90 yards that he fielded inside the 5 and returned inside the other 5 for his longest kick return. He never has had a touchdown. He said he's still not over that he didn't get into the end zone, but he has 3 punt returns for touchdowns in his career, and you would think he has a shot to do that at the next level.
No, there's no doubt. He's excellent in that regard.
Rodriguez trying to get outside and does. Pushed out inside the 30, Alyssa.
You guys talk about just how much he's grown on the football field, and then of course taking on that role as a quarterback, but you talk to people around Kentucky's program, they talk about how much he's grown as a person as well. You guys mentioned earlier in this game he does a lot of what he does for his son, but even when we met with him yesterday, he called himself a hothead when he was younger. He said he's really matured over the last couple of years, and now being in this position and as a leader on this team, he's matured even more.
Alyssa, what do you think with this John Rice Plumlee looking offense tonight?
You know, I think John Rice Plumlee's a baller. Have you guys seen him take off on the ground? I mean, he is up there when it comes to the conference in rushing.
How about Christopher Rodriguez taking off? Best career game for Rodriguez in a touchdown. He had 81 yards last week against Tennessee. He has 113 and 2 touchdowns today.
Well, we've seen a ton of different looks from Kentucky. That's just inside zone. That's a great job at left guard and center. Drake Jackson, Logan Steinberg getting movement inside, denting the defensive front. Rodriguez, as you mentioned, having a career night.
Can you believe the Cats trailed 14-3 in this game? Looked like Vandy came across early. 38-14. Cats putting it on the Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville today. I would say that's what you want. Christopher Rodriguez, the leading rusher. Bowden's run it 17 times at the quarterback spot. Cavassier's got a touchdown. A.J. Rose had a couple of huge runs, but a fumble has sent him to the bench. Cats have a chance to have 3, maybe 4 100-yard rushers in the same game.
Look at A.J. Rose before he had that fumble. 4 rushes, 67 yards. That's pretty sporty average early on in the game. And as you mentioned, Hadn't been heard from since after that fumble. Went the other way for a score for Vanderbilt. Otherwise, this offense hasn't been slowed.
Cats have been known to take over Nashville for the SEC basketball tournament. Big Blue Nation with a nice appearance here tonight for their football team.
There's a high likelihood, though, that they're going to battle their way into the postseason yet again this year after coming over a mountain of adversity.
Neal swings it out to Cam Johnson. That's a first down.
You look at the 7 years that Mark Stoops put together, pretty remarkable. And the consistency, and really the confidence that was placed in him. The first year, inauspicious to say the least. Just 2 wins. He's been able to build it year over year. The patience from the administration, and he acknowledges that. We talked about it in our meeting yesterday. Very appreciative of the program that he has been able to build at Kentucky and the patience that he was shown.
Good to see Keyshawn Vaughn back in the game as he goes past 10 yards. Now, so earlier this week, Mark Stoops was asked on Monday about the FSU job that's out there, and who wouldn't want Mark Stoops to be their coach, given what he's done at Kentucky. And this is what he said: "I never get too far in front of my skis. Trust me, let's worry about Vandy. That's where all of my concentration is. That's the nature of this job. One minute they love you, and the next week they're trying to run you out of here. I'm very thankful for the job I have." And I can tell you he repeated that almost verbatim to us yesterday. Neal incomplete with traffic crossing on what should be the last play of the third quarter. All Big Blue since the first quarter. Cats running their way, play after play, down the field for touchdowns. 38-14, 15 minutes away from their 5th win of the season. As we go to the fourth quarter, Kentucky leads Vanderbilt by a score of 38-14. Cats are coming off a 10-win season when they won on New Year's Day.
See, Riley Neal hits a shot downfield.
Ben Bresnahan.
But he mentioned, we're going to be young on defense. I got my big 3 back. The big 3 we've been talking about: Lipscomb, Vaughn, Pinckney. I can build and lean on an offense, and it just hasn't materialized. And in fact, really the defense seemingly had round the corner there for a bit in this season. They're just young and they're thin, and the offense has just never really been able to get going.
Lipscomb with another catch, almost tackled by Lang out of bounds, by the way. Alyssa was there.
Boil a mouthpiece down there, Alyssa.
You guys don't want that from me.
Neal under pressure and throws it almost to Alyssa.
Yeah, I need to get out of this spot. No, what do y'all think?
Yeah. There she is. There she is. Right in the thick of the action.
No kidding, yeah, look alive. Head on a swivel.
I'm just down here training to make sure I can beat Taylor in a foot race by the end of the season.
Been asking for it all year. I don't know what's happened. Maybe next week.
I can't wait to see it. Let's not wait till it gets too cold. We're old. I can't have a bunch of blown hamstrings.
Taking that to my advantage.
This is a 3rd and 8 for the Commodores. We're 1 of 1 in the red zone, and they'll have a 1st and goal. Another throw to Bresnahan. Let's get another update on the Dogs back in the studio from Dari. I mean, pitching a shutout in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
We've already got a pair of shutouts this season. When you think about it versus conference opponents, this could be number 3. That's pretty impressive, potentially.
That's, of course, that they shut out this team, Kentucky.
Missouri, now a shot at shutting out the Auburn Tigers at home. Quarter to play, a lot of football yet.
Now, granted, that Kentucky game was in a borderline monsoon.
That was not part of their defensive game.
that was something else. This is the 11th play of the drive for Vandy. Riley Neal hanging tough.
got some confusion.
Takes off. Get a yard, 3rd and goal.
There was some confusion, too. It looked like they were in a bunch formation to the left side. There was confusion by Kentucky in coverage. Neal didn't like what he saw, tried to tuck and run it. A 3rd down opportunity.
Tough to watch if you're Coach Mason, who's had to use at least 2 quarterbacks in 8 of 9 games coming into the day. Neal has gone the distance. 12th play of the drive. On a 3rd and goal. Tackled at the 5. It'll be 4th down. J.J. Weaver, true freshman, with that tackle.
Neal just trying to find a way to get his offense into the end zone for the 2nd time today. 8 of 9 now for 61 yards on this drive, after only completing 2 passes prior to this possession.
4th down. Neal takes off, stoned at the 5-yard line. Great play made by the Wildcats here to keep him out, and they get the ball back. Well, Walker Wood's going to get to play a little for Kentucky in the last 5:39. A sophomore from Lafayette High School in Lexington. Handed off to Cavassier Smoke, and Smoke will get a couple. So take a look at Mr. Wood. Nice salad there too on the
That's quite the man.
Walker Wood.
Disney Plus, you watched The Lion King. He played Simba with that haircut.
Smoke a couple yards away from 100. And he will only get 1 there. I do want to give a shout out to Marquez Bembry that made that tackle to keep Neal out of the end zone. Transfer from Jones College in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Great play and limited action. This will be a 3rd and 6 here for the Cats. And Walker Wood. It's a keeper by Wood. Just about 32 yards shy of the line to gain. And it'll be 4th down. Yeah, let's show us how far they've got to go here on 4th down. Wow.
So there they are.
There's the yellow line. Yep. All right. We didn't know if Max Duffy was still in Lexington or not. His first, or Nashville here. Max Duffy, the junior from Perth, Australia, one of the best in the country. He always runs up like that, and you think maybe he's going to take off. Not one of his better punts. His average is over 48 yards in what's been a terrific year. That was just 35. Well, Lynn Bowden with another outstanding day at quarterback. Threw it 10 times and completed 8 passes, over 100 yards passing, which is a career high. Also ran it 17 times for 110 yards and a touchdown. And that certainly will get him a post-game interview with Alyssa, making Eddie Gran happy. His new offense that we've shown in the last 5 games, the Cats utilizing the ground game on almost a play-by-play basis. Alan Walters will check in for Vandy just like he did last week against Florida. We'll have Mitchell Pryor back there in the backfield with him. Mitchell, the walk-on from Darien, Connecticut, running straight ahead for a few.
Well, we've talked about it all game. You know, Kentucky's defense rounding into form. A lot of new faces in the back end. One of the better pass defenses in the conference statistically with all those new secondary players.
Looks a PI in there as Bresnahan was the intended target again. He caught 2 passes on the last drive.
Pass interference, number 44 defense. 50-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Just never looked back at the football, Jamin Davis. Jamin has a great quote, by the way. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic.
I like that one. That's a good one. He's in on that goal line stand on 4th down play earlier for Vanderbilt, trying to get it in the end zone. Davis in on the stop of Riley Neal. Ludowici, Georgia.
Yeah. Gamecocks and Aggies coming up about 45 minutes from now. There's a step up again. That's incomplete. Caromed off a couple of people there. And first off of Jalen Geiger, the defensive back, almost went into the arms of Justin Shelton Mosley. Think the Aggies get their 7th win here tonight?
I do. I mean, you're looking at a South Carolina team. When you're making the comments they're having to make, athletic director having to speak up about the status of the program, it's a little bit on the ropes right now, especially offensively. They've had difficulty in their passing game, and as we mentioned, some instability in their rushing attack as well.
Walters misfires looking for Bresnahan. LSU is at Ole Miss. That's tonight on ESPN. And then the ABC game, of course, as we mentioned, is Oklahoma and Baylor in Waco. So Coach Corso picking the Baylor Bears in an upset. Auburn is on the board as Georgia leads that one 21-7 in the 4th quarter.
Auburn just kicked an onside kick trying to steal a possession and trying to take a look to see who has it.
Walters and 2 Kentucky players collide. Otherwise, it would have been an interception. That was Zach Johnson and Jamari Brown in coverage.
Jamari Brown, a guy they played last week, started at corner for Kentucky. Had some difficulties. They defended some of those 50-50 throws versus the Tennessee wide receiving corps, one of the better wide receiving corps in this conference. Think about LSU. You hear a lot about Alabama's, and of course Tennessee's pretty good as well at wide receiver.
First time Kentucky's held an opponent under 200 yards in 5 years so far, and it's going to remain the case as Vanderbilt will finish with 199 total yards in the game as that pass incomplete to Pryor, and Kentucky can take a knee and enjoy this 38-14 victory featuring 35 unanswered points.
And you can see it early on. You know, you're able to jump out in front, did Vanderbilt off the defensive score, but otherwise just incapable of slowing down the Kentucky Wildcat offense. An impressive display by Eddie Grand and his offensive charges.
Last road game for the Wildcats. They'll go home to Lexington, play UT Martin next week, and then host the Louisville Cardinals. 529 total yards. That's a season high. Only allowing 198. That's a season best. And 2 great friends meet at midfield. What a day for Lynn Bowden. 104 yards passing and a touchdown, 110 rushing and a touchdown. And we send it down to Alyssa and Coach Stoops.
Coach, Lynn Bowden with over 100 yards passing. How do you evaluate the way he played today?
He played the way he's been playing, just like a warrior. Plays extremely hard. We trust him. He makes good decisions. You know, he's doing a lot of things back there, so we're proud of him.
I know you've had a ton of competition in your running backs room. Did you expect the performance they put on today?
Those guys have been three-headed monster all year. Really proud of them. They really ran hard, ran physical. It's unfortunate we had the one turnover with AJ that turned into 7 points, but really proud of their effort, and we need AJ to get back in there as well.
You guys are one win away from being eligible for the postseason. What does this win do for you going into the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's just I'm proud of our team's been playing hard. If they play like this and prepare like that each week and go out and play hard and try to play for each other, I'm proud of them, and I was proud of their effort tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, went away from a third straight trip to the postseason for Coach Stoops, getting to 5-5 on the season. Cavassier Smoke had 95 yards rushing. That was the third best total. Lynn Bowden had 110. Christopher Rodriguez had 129.